Elysia has just introduced a new product called the xpressor Neo, and I happen to have one. So let's take a closer look. So this is the xpressor Neo, and basically the only thing that isn't Neo about it is the controls. The controls are exactly the same as on the old xpressor. However, almost all internals have been refreshed. Or how I would say it in more simple terms, plugins started to catch up with the analog world, and then Elysia said, hold my beer. So before we are going to plug it in and listen to this thing, let me give you a quick overview of the controls. We've got threshold, attack, release and ratio, like the perfect controls for a compressor. Also because there's a wide range of attack and release times and a very wide range of ratios, including negative ratios. So a negative ratio basically means that the compressor will compress even more than the threshold. So signals above threshold will be outputted below threshold. We've got hit it, which is also known as bypass, warm mode, logarithmic release mode, and auto fast, which I'll explain in a minute. There's a sidechain filter on here, both for the internal and external sidechain that it has. We've got a gain reduction limiter. We've got output gain, which isn't automatic, but that's logical because it's analog. And we've got a parallel dry wet knob. And on the back, we've got our usual business for the input and output. It's a stereo compressor, of course. We can go in and out both on XLR and jack. And we've got an external sidechain input that activates by plugging the jack into it. I'm not a huge fan of that. I would rather have a button, but that's my personal preference. And lastly, we of course have our power input, power switch, and the voltage selector. So this thing also works in 110 volt areas. I'm going to keep it at 230 volts because I don't think Elysia will like it if I destroy their reviewer's unit. So yeah, let me plug it in and let's have some fun with this thing. However, before I'm going to plug it in, let me do a quick disclosure. Elysia has been very kind to me by lending me this kind of prototype unit before the release so that I could make this video on launch date. I am in direct contact with Ruben, who not only designed this thing, but also is the CEO of Elysia. And that is mainly because I wanted to learn more about the internals of this thing, because I'm in the end an analog freak. However, Elysia doesn't have any say in whatever I'm talking about in this video. Everything that I'm saying and my statements are my complete, honest and independent opinions, and I highly appreciate it that Elysia respects this. If you like my independence and want to support me, you can consider buying an xpressor Neo or something else using my affiliate links. I will link Toman over here and Sweetwater over here, and also check out my merchandise. It's linked in the underneath this video. All right, so the first thing that I wanna show with this thing is drums. And this is a drum track that's recorded at Sound Vision Studio, and it's played by George, also known as Animal. Let's just do that. Let's play with this thing. So let's go for a long attack time. Like that. More ratio. Right, and now speed up the attack a little bit. So what is interesting here, and this already brings us to the auto fast button, is that if our attack gets too quick, most of all on low frequencies, we're getting distortion. Now it's of course cool to use the distortion. I mean, I kind of like it. You don't always want that. What you can do is set a slower attack setting and then enable auto fast. This will automatically detect the transients that needs to be compressed without it actually attacking on low frequencies, because a compressor on such a quick attack setting really has some issues with detecting or discerning between transients and sine waves. Let me show you the difference between auto fast and quick attack. Auto fast. Quick attack. So really getting that distortion, while now getting the same amount of compression, same compression effect basically, but without the distortion. It's a really cool feature to really balance out that like quick attack time without the distortion of a quick attack time. Now let's slow down the release a little bit. Go to logarithmic release. Even slower maybe. You can see the difference between logarithmic and linear. So when the release is set to linear, you can really see it like coming back in a linear way. When it's set to logarithmic, the first part of the release goes really quickly, and then the further it is in its release curve, the slower it gets. Here. So logarithmic, really this first part goes really quickly, and then the last part acts a little bit as a leveler. And with linear release, it's just all the way. It's just linear. And of course that only makes sense on like longer release times. Now another cool thing is that this thing is capable of doing negative ratio. So let's see how that sounds on drums. Let's do auto fast like this and increase the ratio. So we're now at infinite, so now it's basically a limiter. Let's go even further without hitting our gain reduction limit. Almost impossible. Like it gives a really kind of a weird effect. Like this is something that's still like, I can still understand this sound, like it's being limited, but now it really gets into like a sucky kind of vibe. It's really, and it gets even more interesting when we're using the mix knob on here. Of course, also mix it just with a more normal ratio. Now another thing that's on there that's really cool that I want to show is the warm mode. By default, this thing is very clean, very functional, really does what it says on the box. It doesn't add any color or something. We can of course mishandle it with quick attack times and stuff, then it of course colors. But in general, it tries to stay very clean. And with warm mode, you're basically setting the amplifiers into a different mode, into a different, I don't know how it works, magic. That basically changes the speed of the amplifiers and how it reacts to transients. And as a result, the frequency response will be altered as well. So let me switch between warm mode for you. It really gets clean. It's a bit subtle, and I hope that it comes through the YouTube codec, most of all the transients, because I think the codec already slows those things down a lot. But yeah, that's warm mode. Another thing that's on here is the sidechain filter. So with this you can both filter the internal or the external sidechain, whatever you're using, and basically make sure that the compressor doesn't react to low frequencies. I had it set on 31 Hz the whole time. Now I'm going to turn it up and basically make it react less to the bass drum. All the way down. Now we can make a whole different type of compression. more snappier version. Like that. Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. That's cool. So another thing that's on here is the GRL, which is the gain reduction limiter, with which you can basically set a certain level at which you want the maximum gain reduction to be. So if I turn this one up, you'll see it won't reduce more than 5 decibels, which will create some very interesting things. Like it will hold a level at a certain place, but then, you know, the peaks will still be able to go through at the correct setting, as you can hear here now as well. Like it just does some compression, but not a lot. Now, of course, drums and those kind of things, I mean, it's kind of easy for a compressor to hype those things up. And this thing, of course, because of its versatility, does a very good job at it. However, what I want to try now is using it on a very acoustic, open recording and see how it deals with that. So, let's do that. A low ratio, slow attack, slow release. The 2 ratio, 2 to 1. Logarithmic release. Out of fast, just to be sure. Add some EQ. Okay. Yeah, that's the same compressor that was just crushing drums. Yeah. And I think that shows the Elysia quality really well. Like, as you can see from this thing, like the build quality is very good. We've got aluminium knobs that really, they don't wiggle. They are stepped. They're all like, it all feels very solid, very well engineered. And that isn't just for the controls and for how the device is built, but also for the internal circuitry. You can throw a lot of stuff at this thing and it will be able to handle it as long as you know how to set these knobs, of course. Like if you don't know what you're doing, then chances are big it will end up sounding not that good. But as you can see, like from drums to this, like what more can I say about this? And that's also my conclusion. I really like the xpressor in the same way that I like the character that I have from Elysia. It's very versatile. It's very well built. It's a machine that you can count on, and it's very affordable. Because this thing will sell for roughly 20% more as the old version of the xpressor. I don't know the exact prices because, I mean, people from all over the world are watching this video. But in the Netherlands, this thing is going to cost roughly 1,500 euros. But again, check with your local dealer to know the exact pricing of this thing. Now, the big question, of course, is, am I going to buy one? And the answer is yes. I think I'm going to need to send this one back. I'm not sure. I'll ask. So I'm either going to buy this unit or one of the shelves. But I'm definitely, it's high on my list. It's a really nice and versatile unit. Now this unit is also sold as a 500 series module and as a cube, which is a product from Elysia that basically houses 2 channels of 500 series. The cool thing about these things is that the PCB is the same. Like this thing has the 500 series PCBs basically in it with a separate power supply and stuff, but it should be 100% the same. So you can choose whatever form factor fits you. I would love to have a few channels of this as a 500 series, but I don't have a rack yet. So for now, I am going with the rack mount version. And that basically sums it up. That's everything that I have to say about the xpressor from Elysia. Huge, huge, huge thanks and shout out to Elysia for giving me this unit before the release so that I could check it out. And if you like my videos and want to support me, consider becoming a member. I'll link to Patreon over here, but you can also become a member on YouTube. YouTube actually works better as of these days. So check out both, whatever you prefer. And as a member, you get early access to content, answers to your questions and some other good stuff. I'll link a playlist of that over here. And I'll try to cram in another video that you can just watch if you just don't want to become a member, but want to watch more videos. I'll link one over here, I think. Thanks a lot for watching. Keep pushing. And bye-bye.